was an unbelievable number right there. 7 points per game after the way that they started with Randall Cunningham. Of course, Randall Cunningham now out, Brett Barnett out, and they were really the two big guns in that offense.
Eagles begin 4 straight wins. They've lost 4 in a row currently. O'Brien rolls to get away from trouble, but then overshoots his intended receiver, Victor Bailey, as Marco Coleman once again was bearing down on Ken O'Brien.
And I think what you saw in that play, there's Bubby Brister, the backup quarterback. He may be able to play in this one, and Rich Kotite told us that he wouldn't hesitate to pull O'Brien out of it if things got ugly in a hurry. He's still struggling to some degree with that bad neck. I think we saw there a concession on the part of Rich Kotite, feeling that he really can't block this defensive line for the Miami Dolphins straight out, so the bootleg and getting out of pocket on the last play.
Eagles looking for their first third down conversion. O'Brien floats it too long for Bailey. Pass off target for Ken O'Brien. Oliver and Brown were with Victor Bailey, and O'Brien complaining perhaps that he was subject of a late hit. I didn't see it, but he had some words to Gordon McCarter.
Kenny O'Brien was telling us yesterday that, well, there's nothing worse than playing like we did last week in Phoenix. He said as soon as the game was over, I couldn't wait to get back on the field again, but at least so far it looks like a replay of last week's game.
Eagles punting has been highlights so far. That one is a kind of a sideways sidewinder to McDuffie at the 19-yard line where he makes the fair catch. It was a 41-yard punt that time. It remains 6-0 Fins. Opening period, Ken O'Brien and the Eagles off to a rocky start so far. And let's take a look at the natural gas quarterback efficiency ratings. These are NFL ratings led by Troy Aikman of Dallas, with Scott Mitchell of Miami hot on his heels. Ken O'Brien at 64.7. Not enough attempts to qualify officially, but as you see, far down in the ratings. First down for the Dolphins. The ball inside their own 20-yard line. First down pass from Mitchell. Sets up a screen. Higgs with blockers. And a good defensive play, limiting it to a gain of 6 by Joyner and Hager, playing off the interference to make the tackle of Higgs.
The key to any screen pass is the patience of the quarterback. He has to be a bullfighter. Let those bulls get as close as possible. William Perry there charging from the outside, and he held on to it just long enough to allow those blockers to get out in front, and disguised it pretty well.
Scott Mitchell 3 of 6 for 40 yards, including a touchdown here in the first quarter. Started out 0-3. Hits. Hit and dropped after a short gain. He will not have enough for the first down. I don't believe he's going to be about a yard short. Depends on the spot of the football here, and he gets a fairly generous spot, but it's going to be a yard short.
Speaking of bullfighters, I think the Fridge did a little Olay on this one. Just right under. Got half a hook on Mark Higgs.
Well, Higgs is only 5'7". He's ducked under a lot of big guys in his time. Dolphins have converted 3 of 4 third downs in the first quarter. They only need out a yard, maybe less than that. Mitchell's going to pass. And he got a wide open Irving Fryer at midfield. Fell down and then is dropped as he tries to run again by Andre Waters.
Well, if you want to know why Don Shula is on the verge of breaking this record, play action on 3rd and 1. Get your top receiver, Irving Fryer, working against a strong safety, Andre Waters. No way in the world they're going to win that matchup. Lucky for the Eagles, that wasn't a touchdown.
As it was, 21 yards and a first down for Shula Dolphins. Ball just short of the Miami 49-yard line, and the Dolphins leading 6-0. Another first down pass from Mitchell. Another long one, broke it up at the last minute. Intended for Fryer, or was it Jackson? But William Thomas was the man that got in there to bat it away. It was Keith Jackson right down the center of the field, and Thomas batted it to the turf.
And those are jeers for Keith Jackson. He had the coverage he wanted. Look at this, wide open down the middle of the field. Had a chance to go for 6, and the ball just faded in behind him. I wonder if that's a case of Keith Jackson not being used to a left-handed quarterback. On a left-handed quarterback's ball, it will fade back to the left, and it really didn't look like Keith Jackson anticipated that.
I thought Thomas got a piece of it, but he didn't appear so on the replay. That pass intended for Byers. Too long as Mitchell was feeling the heat of the rush from William Thomas. And Byers gets a jeer or two, huh?
These Philadelphia fans have really enjoyed that. First Keith Jackson had a chance for one, and now Keith Byers. And Scott Mitchell is going to get slung around a little bit by William Thomas.
6 defensive backs on for the Philadelphia Eagles as the Dolphins try to convert another third down. This one is 3rd and 10. 45% this season. That's 5th in the NFL. They're 4 of 5 today. Mitchell. That'll be picked off. Intercepted by Rich Miano, the free safety. Mitchell had a misread with his receiver, O.J. McDuffie, and Miano made a diving interception. For Miano, his 4th interception of the season. That's tops on the Eagles.
Well, we talked about the great finesse of Scott Mitchell. This time, too much finesse, as he just tried to throw the thing up over the top. A horrible throw, a horrible decision by Scott Mitchell.
So Mitchell with the interception on the season. That is only his 3rd interception. He's thrown 8 touchdown passes.
Looking at the AFC Offensive Player of the Month in Scott Mitchell, and there's Rich Miano, who comes up with his 4th interception of the year.
Herschel Walker, nowhere to go. Got perhaps 3 yards as he stopped short of the 40 by Brian Cox.
Just right over the middle here was the pattern, but Scott Mitchell tried to drop it in over the top, as we saw him do earlier with Mark Ingram, and the ball is nowhere close, and Miano, just playing center field, makes the easy interception.
Rich Miano's 4th pick of 1993. Eagles need to get some offense brewing, though. They've done nothing. Walker had a seam for a moment. Maybe another 3 yards. He's going to be too short of the first down.
And Herschel Walker has really become the go-to guy for this Philadelphia Eagles offense since the injury to Randall Cunningham and Fred Barnett. He has twice as many carries since that injury as he did before, so they're trying to just work it on the ground. The Eagles and Rich Kotite really feel like that they can run the football on anybody. Nice line surge that time up front. David Alexander, Mike Shadd.
Walker's also the 3rd leading receiver. He's carried 4 times for 14 yards today. Fake to Walker. O'Brien rolls. He's got a man complete. It's James Joseph, and Joseph has the initial first down of the game for the Eagles. Stopped just short of the Dolphin 45 by Brown.
Great call by Rich Kotite, 3rd down and 2. And look at all the bodies in here for the Miami Dolphins. This was a run-stop defense. They come out with the bootleg, surprise the Dolphins, and pick up a big first down. That's what the Eagles are going to have to do. They can't just be conservative on offense. I know Ken O'Brien, not the most mobile guy in the world, but they really need to open this thing up.
O'Brien looks down the sideline, turns the other way, and gets it to Walker. Walker evades the first tackler and pounds to the 40-yard line. Gain of about 6 yards. Walker tackled there by Marco Coleman.
And the play would have been even better but for the laziness on the part of Maurice Johnson. He walked down the field basically and turned around and really didn't give Herschel Walker even a block once he made the catch. Not a good effort at all by Maurice Johnson.
Closing seconds of quarter number 1. Walker, no block at the point of attack. He's ridden out of bounds for a loss on the play by Troy Vincent. That one never had a chance to develop.
And the reason is right here. The Dolphins were able to stack that thing up at the point of attack, force Herschel Walker to bounce it to the outside, and Troy Vincent in good position as the cornerback, not giving up that outside contained position and just riding Herschel Walker out of bounds.
And that play will bring quarter number 1 to a close. At the end of the first quarter at the Vet in Philadelphia, Miami Dolphins leading. Eagles by a 6-0 count. Eagle fans haven't had much to cheer about as we begin.